Good morning, everybody. Crafting Journey here, that Journey chick on Instagram. How are you guys today? It is Friday. If I wasn't so sore, I could do the Friday dance, but yeah, let's see if we can eke it out. Yeah, we'll do the Friday slow dance. How about that? Because I'm so sore. I need like a full body massage. Oh, yeah. Is that like on a scale of 1 to 10, the pain is like a 3 or 4. It's just sore. Just the muscles are just yelling at me. And I need to go to work today, so I'm going to go into the office for as long as I don't know. Maybe I won't go in the office. I haven't decided yet. I don't know. I need to keep heat on my back because that seems to help. But yeah, let's put the light pad on. I can't even concentrate. Let's put the light pad on. And the Flexeril that they gave me, which is a muscle relaxer, it really works. It relaxes your muscles. It does help with the pain, but I'm definitely not going to be able to take it while I'm at work. And even when I take it, I fall asleep. So I need to. I don't know. I haven't decided if I'm going to go into the office or not. I'll make that decision in a little while. I think I'm leaning towards working from home. I've worked from home all week, so I might as well just finish the week out, right? I wish they would just let me work from home all of the time, but right now I guess that's not an option. But you know what? It is National Take Your Dog to Work Day, so I could take Tootsie into the office. Now, this is kind of another one of those awareness days, to get people to go out and adopt a pet. Guys, I can't tell you how much joy those 2 kittens have brought into my life. Adopt an animal. It just reduces your stress. Yesterday, I was trying to work, and Stitch was not having it. He'll put up with it for a little while, but at one point he's like, Mom, I want a nap. So he crawled up on me and he curled up in my, like, he likes to lay right here. So he curls up there and he falls asleep. So I put the computer down and I'm laying in my lounge chair just petting him, and I fall sound asleep. Which is not a good thing, because if I fall asleep without my CPAP, it's not a good sleep. It's a, very, like, I have bad dreams, and I wake up with a sore throat, and so but it just was so comforting to have the little kitty on my chest, and it was like I just went fast asleep. Yeah. And it's one of those sleeps where you're not breathing well, but you're too sleepy to wake up. So, and that's strictly the drug talking there. That's that Flexeril. But anyway, I do have quite a bit of stuff to catch up on, because I was working on this special project for the medical director, which I finished. So I need to catch up on my other work. But, it'll get done. It will get done. But I suspect if I took the dog to work, nothing would get done. There are a lot of pet-friendly companies right now. Like Petco, PetSmart. A lot of the animal companies will allow animals. They're pet friendly. You can bring your animals to work, and it seems to increase productivity, decrease employees' stress. They feel like if when the employees take their dog for a walk and they come back refreshed and ready to work again. But there are some other companies that are moving in that direction. For example, Amazon, Airbnb, Procore Technologies, Vungle, and Radio Systems Corporation are all just a few of the companies that support pet-friendly policies. So the cons are that there may be someone that's in your workplace that's allergic, maybe someone that has a fear of dogs. It's not a very popular thing for them. So I think we have to be mindful of the people, that are afraid of dogs and are allergic. There's also a risk of injury to employees, or other dogs. Not with Tootsie. Good Lord, she's a gentle giant, but I can imagine that there's not dogs that are not well trained. That there could be issues with. And what do potential clients think? Oh my gosh, you've got a dog here. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? Now, I work in a hospital. I don't think this is ever going to fly. No, you cannot bring your dog in. Now, but I will say that, as a risk manager, I was a risk manager for many years. We allowed service dogs into the hospital, but there were special circumstances where I would allow pets in to visit their loved ones. If this was a really special pet, well, they're all special to us, aren't they? But if maybe the person is dying, maybe they're on hospice, I would let the family bring the pet in. I would, yeah. So you can allow dogs into the hospital, but you just have to be careful. You don't let them into the surgical areas, obviously, but if they can come onto the regular floors, but for the most part, it's just service animals that we would allow. I remember my mother was recovering from her. What did she have? Oh, she was recovering from her lung surgery, and she was in the rehab facility, so she could recover. And I snuck Jake in to see her, and the nurses didn't say a word. They didn't care. So Jake jumped up in the bed with her, and Um, he just laid there next to her. It was so cute. Oh, so cute. And it meant so much for her to see her dog. Um, yeah. And I just kept him in the room. I didn't take him anywhere else in the hospital, just in her room. Um, so yeah, there are companies that support it. Now, if Tootsie wasn't 100 pounds, I might try. I might try to get away with it, but I think it's not like I could sneak a 100-pound dog into my workspace. Oh well. I'm almost done with this section here. I'm just plugging in some last few colors here, and then I'm going to start my way down. I haven't done a whole lot of diamond painting, I'm not going to lie. I did pick up the crochet hook again last night and did some crochet in bed. I just, I'm just kind of out of it. It's weird. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about judge, jury, and journey. So lots of things going on. Today will be the sentencing of Derek Chauvin. As you may recall, he was found guilty of first-degree murder for the death of George Floyd. He put his knee on his neck. He did not offer him medical treatment when it was obvious he needed medical treatment. And the man passed away. So he was found guilty of first-degree murder. So today we're going to see the sentencing. Should be interesting. Now I don't know what time that is. Let me look and see if I can find a time in case you guys want to watch that sentencing. It should be live on a lot of different places. Let's just see here. Usually they'll put up a watch for the sentencing. Let's see. They haven't yet. I'm sure they will. Not yet. So I'll keep an eye out for that for you guys. But so far, yeah, I don't see a thumbnail for it yet. I want to say it's in the afternoon. I don't think it's this morning. So I don't know if there's mandatories in the state where he is being sentenced. He's also facing federal charges, so I don't think he's going to get out of jail anytime soon. And he's being sequestered in jail. He can't be around other inmates because, it's for his own safety. So he's just got to be going bonkers, Can you imagine? Not that I feel sorry for the guy. I'm not feeling sorry for him. I'm just saying, maybe it was well deserved. He has some time to think about what he did. Like putting somebody in timeout. Think about what you did, because it was terrible. Yeah. I think the George Floyd family obviously will be in the courtroom. I don't know if they'll be allowed to give victim statements. They may be. That usually happens at the sentencing. I don't know if there will be anybody speaking on behalf of Derek Chauvin. Usually you'll get some people that will speak on his behalf to say, what a nice boy he was growing up and blah, blah, blah. I don't know if we'll hear any of that. Now, one of the reasons it takes so long to do a sentencing is they have to do a pre-sentence investigation, because a lot of the sentencing is scored, based on your past history and future concerns. That gives a judge an idea of what to sentence you to, unless, of course, there are mandatory. And in this case, there may be some mandatory things going on here. Also, it gives him an idea of where to place him in the system, at which he may not have a choice. He's facing federal charges. I don't know if he's going to go to a federal prison or not. I kind of hope not, because federal prison is a lot nicer than state prisons, so I've heard. Um, so, um, I don't. Does he deserve a nice prison? I don't know. He's going to be in isolation wherever he goes. I don't know. Anywho, all right. We are doing the murder of FSU law professor Dan Markel. Now, Dan Markel was married to Wendy Adelson. So the focus has become on the Adelson family. So yesterday I talked about, now the people that are on trial right now are Catherine Magbanua, who was Charlie Adelson's girlfriend. Now, Charlie is the brother of Wendy, who was married to Dan, the victim. He's a very prominent periodontist in South Florida. And so he was dating Catherine. And the other person on trial is Sergio Garcia. He was the shooter. He's the person that got out of the vehicle with Luis Rivera driving, got out of the vehicle, shot Dan Markel, got back in, and he and Luis drove away. Luis has turned state evidence and has testified against these two individuals. So now we're at the point where yesterday we heard about an operation called the bump. And what a bump is that it's designed to create chatter. See, the murder occurred in 2014. It wasn't until around 2016 that the police were putting all the pieces of the puzzle together, that they finally figured out who the shooters were, who was involved. Luis Rivera was already in jail by this point on racketeering, federal racketeering charges. So what they did, and by 2016, the chatter had kind of died down. Nobody was talking about this murder anymore. So in order to create more chatter amongst the principals in this case, they had an undercover police officer walk up to Donna Adelson, the mother of Wendy, who was married to Dan, and hand her a piece of paper and say, pretending he was a Latin king, that his brother was this Luis Rivera, who was in jail. He says, I know you've been helping out Katie and Tuto, which is Sergio Garcia's nickname. I know you've been helping that family out because they helped your family with a problem up north, and you guys need to take care of my brother Tato, which is Luis Rivera. Yeah, we have Tuto and Tato, and I may be confusing the two. So now we know. Now what happens? So the flyer has a phone number on it, and it has the number $5,000 written by it. So what happens after Donna gets this flyer? So we know she goes across the street, picks up her grandchildren from school, but then she calls Charlie. Now we get into the wiretap. Now the wiretap was on Charlie Adelson's phone and on Catherine Magbanua's two phones. She had two separate cell phones at this time. So all three of these phones are wiretapped, so we can hear the conversations. So we know Donna's phone is not wiretapped, but because she called Charlie, we can hear the conversation. So she tells Charlie about this guy that comes up and hands her a flyer. And he says, well, I'm working right now. Let me come by tomorrow morning and I'll take a look at it. But don't worry, Mom. Stop worrying. He's very concerned that his mother's really worrying too much. So the next phone call we get is between, almost immediately, Charlie calls Catherine Magbanua. And he relates to her what just happened to his mother. And he says, the guy used your name and some guy named Tuto, and I don't even know. And Catherine at no point tells Charlie that Tuto is Sergio Garcia. I don't know if Charlie knew that or not, or if he's just pretending that he didn't know it. Now, some of the phone calls that go back and forth at this point are appear to be coded, like they're talking about other things, but you can kind of tell they're really talking about this flyer. So after he calls Catherine, he tells her what's going on. He says I'll call you when I get to my mother's and I see this piece of paper, and I'll let you know what it says. And so she's like, all right. Then she gets on the phone with Sergio Garcia next. So she's calling Sergio. She tells Sergio what's going on. And apparently Sergio was in a very bad mood. He didn't want to hear it. So she ends up calling him again later, and there's multiple phone calls. So now the phone calls are going back and forth and back and forth. But nobody is calling the phone number on this thing. Charlie told Donna that he would handle it. Charlie's not calling the phone number. Catherine's Magbano is not calling the phone number, and Sergio's not calling the phone number. I think they all thought each other were going to call the phone number. So what happens next is the FBI sends a letter to Charlie Adelson's office, and I don't recall what the letter says. They didn't show it, but purporting to be from these same people, asking them to take care of Luis Rivera. And Catherine, during some of the phone calls, says, we need to call the police. We need to tell the police about this. Don't give them any money. And Charlie's saying, maybe it's a member of my family that owes him money. I don't know. I don't know any of these names that start with a T. Who are these people? And it's interesting because Catherine never tells him, that's Sergio and Luis. She never says that to him. So was he totally unaware of who she hired to commit this murder? I mean, at this point, it seems like he left it up to her, here's what I need done, get somebody to do it. I don't know, because he's acting completely unaware of who these people are. Anyway, so the wiretaps go on for quite some time, unfortunately. I only listened to a couple of hours of the wiretaps. There are about 4 more hours of wiretaps for me to listen to. But eventually, Sergio says that he called the phone number, but he really didn't. He says he called it and nobody answered. And then, so eventually Charlie calls the phone number and someone does answer. And he has, but here's what happened first. So first, the FBI calls the Adelson Institute, the dental practice. And the guy says, hey, my name is Sammy. I need to talk to Donna Adelson. And the woman's like, well, what's this in reference to? And he's like, I gave her some very important paperwork last week and I haven't heard from her. And this is very important. This is a very important matter. And she's like, well, can I take your phone number and have her call you? So he's like, yeah. So of course, the office calls Donna and tells Donna, hey, this guy came in, he called, and he says he gave you some important paperwork and you haven't called him back. So then Donna calls Charlie. Charlie calls Catherine. Catherine calls Sergio. It's just crazy. So anyway, Charlie decides he's going to call the phone number. Finally, somebody calls the phone number. Charlie calls the phone number and this guy answers and tells him, listen, I know you're taking care of Catherine and Tuto and because they did you a favor up north, and you need to take care of Tato too. Tato's in jail, and you need to take care of his family. This is not going to go away. You need to do this. You need to step up and take responsibility. And so he gets off the phone with them, and he calls Catherine, and Catherine calls Sergio, and blah blah blah. It goes back and forth and back and forth. So that's where we're at. And this Catherine, she's sitting at the defense table, and this whole trial, and she's got her hair's braided, and she looks very kind of almost childlike, So, but you should hear her. She can curse like a sailor, man. She is doing some cursing in this wiretaps, effing this and effing that, and it's crazy. Um, Now, what I don't know is, like, if some of this is coded, I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just not picking up on all of it. But I think the investigator is going to explain it. He's explaining some of it as it's revealed, but um, yeah, it's a little difficult to follow. Now, where did that K go? Right there. All right. Hmm. Do do do. Do 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 do. Okay. Let's do this day in history. History. On this day in history I gotta see what year it was. What year was it, Rebecca? It was in, I want to say 1990, but I'm not for sure. Okay, no, it was in 2009. Michael Jackson dies. He was 50 years old. On June 25th, 2009, Michael Jackson, purported to be one of the most successful entertainers in history, in all of history. He was at his home in Los Angeles, California. His private doctor was administering propofol to him, which is an anesthesia drug that puts you to sleep. When you go to have a procedure done, they will administer some Versed, which is like it helps with pain, but it's also an amnesic drug. But then they administer propofol, and that's what you go. It's like this milky substance, and that's what makes you go to sleep. And once you're asleep, they intubate you and support your breathing that way. And monitor your vital signs. Well, apparently Michael Jackson has a heart attack while he's under the influence of this propofol, and no one was there. The doctor wasn't there. The doctor was administering it, but he didn't hang around, and he passed away. Yeah, so I mean, and during the latter years of his life, he really became quite weird, is the only way I can describe it. He was addicted to plastic surgery. They think because he was doing a Pepsi commercial, and he caught on fire and he suffered some horrendous burns. And then after that, he had all these weird plastic surgeries, and his skin became whiter and whiter, apparently due to some skin condition. And then he had been accused of molesting young boys at his ranch, and I think the latter part of his life was just a nightmare for him, just a nightmare. And this, hiring this doctor and having this stuff administered just took him to a different place, where he was out of it all. I don't know what his thinking would have been. I don't know. Maybe he just needed to get away from everything. Well, he did, because he passed away. And Tootsie, what are you doing there, girl? The memorial for him, it was a public memorial held on July 7th at the Staples Center in Los Angeles. There were over 30 million viewers that tuned in to watch that event on cable TV. And so million more, over 30 million viewers tuned in to watch the event on cable TV, while millions more viewed it online. Yeah. Can you imagine? Because, like I said, he was the king of pop. He was an amazing entertainer. I honestly don't think there's ever been anybody like him, or there ever will be anybody like him. I just picture him dancing, and he was an incredible dancer, incredible. Anyway, and I think he was like on a verge of doing like a comeback tour. He was practicing for that. I don't know. So that never happened, and there was anyway. So today is the day he passed away, and I don't know if that doctor was ever charged with his murder. I wonder if he was. What was his name? What was his name? I want to say he was charged with murder. What was personal doctor? They don't mention the name. Let me look it up. Hold on. Let me find Google. Who was Michael Jackson's personal physician at the time of his death? Conrad Murray.
Dr. Conrad Murray. Here's a summary from Lompoc Record. In 2010, Michael Jackson's personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, pleaded not guilty to involuntary manslaughter in the death of the pop superstar in Los Angeles Superior Court.
Oh, so it says he was convicted in 2011 of manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter, and he served 2 years in prison. Oh, probably lost his license to practice medicine too, I suspect. Wow. Conrad Murray. Yeah. Interesting. I'll bet that was an interesting trial, don't you think? Okay, what color am I doing? I'm really almost done with this section. Yay! Yay! So what's on tap for tonight? It's Friday. We got Mickey Sunshine Creates. Now, I know that DP Addiction Adventures is at, she's doing a retreat. It was her. She sponsored the retreat. She was the retreat organizer. So I don't know if she's going to be doing a live from the retreat. She may be. I don't know. If she is, then I'm gonna tune in just to see if she is, because I'm so jealous. I wish I was at the retreat, but I would have had to fly, and I didn't feel like buying an airline ticket. I thought one retreat this year is enough. I'm going to the one in October. If you're interested in going to a crafting retreat, like I said, there's one going on now, but there is one you still have time to get in on. It's happening, I think, the weekend of October 15th. It is in Missouri, so it's near. We're going to do like this day trip to a quilting company, a very famous quilting company. So any kind of crafts, there'll be people there diamond painting, people there crocheting, loom knitting, doing resin work, making clay pens, you name it. All that stuff is going to be at this retreat. The last year when I went to this retreat, I actually got to, what is it, where you sit and you thread the yarn through this machine and the wheel spins. I don't know what it's called, but that was pretty incredible. Yeah, and it's a very hard skill to learn. So if you want to get in on this year's retreat in October, there are still openings available. It's not terribly expensive. So contact Marissa McCartney on Facebook Messenger. That's her name, Marissa McCartney. And she'll give you all the details. And we would love to have you. Yes, it really is so much fun, and you get lots of free stuff because there's a lot of sponsors. So that's, I'm actually sponsoring it. I'm putting together a large gift basket they're having a raffles, and I think my gift basket is part of the raffle. Um, it's all kinds of really lots of swag, lots of goodies. You don't want to miss it. Okay, where's that? Do, 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 do. Okay. Oh gosh, there's more over here. How did I miss all these? How did I miss these? My goodness. So I just finished watching this series on Masterpiece. It's called Mrs. Wilson. Check it out. It's this woman, her husband passes away, and she finds out he had like 3 other wives. Yeah. Like he had it's weird, it's crazy. So if you get a chance, if you ever watch Masterpiece Theater, check out the show Mrs. Wilson. It's only like 4 episodes to the whole thing. So, and it's a true story. I didn't know that till the end. It was a true story. So guys, thank you for coming and watching the morning show. I know I haven't been as chipper as I usually am. Please forgive me. I love you all. I'll see you tomorrow in the morning show, or tonight in one of the lives. Say hello to me. Bye.